Today, Representative Liz Cheney loses the Wyoming primary election. Biden signs the so-called Inflation Reduction Act and explosive new data about a certain vaccine. But that last part is only for our BlazeTV subscribers because YouTube overlords won't let us talk about it. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, and I said earlier that one part of the show won't be on YouTube, but I don't know. The whole thing could get kicked off because I am joined by two very controversial people. We've got Chad Prather.
This is going down in flames.
Yeah, I was like, just before this, we were testing how to contract monkeypox. And so I'm a little uncomfortable in my seat. That's all I'm going to say. And Chad had a good time, so.
What about the dog?
He was yelping.
It was, you know what? You would think greyhounds were faster.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we weren't kidding when we said it was going down the drain quickly. Speaking of going down the drain, Liz Cheney lost very handily last night in her re-election campaign following her primary election defeat to Trump-backed candidate Harriet Hageman yesterday. She used her concession speech to compare herself to former President Abraham Lincoln. I'm going to play the clip for you in a second, but Liz Cheney, as we can see here, look, she didn't listen to... I don't know why you guys are laughing. It's Liz Cheney that we're showing.
Oh, it's their best picture. I'm laughing because it's the first time I've seen her look good. So I'm like, wow, I would.
It's just, look, she didn't listen to her constituents, which is kind of the whole point. That's kind of the deal, is that you get elected by your constituents to do what they want you to do. And they taught her a lesson, which was, we didn't want you going there, participating in this political clown show, in this political persecution, this witch hunt, this Russia 2.0, the January 6th hearings. And I guess she still isn't quite paying attention to what the constituents are telling her, because she's like, look, I'm just like Honest Abe over there. Watch.
The great and original champion of our party, Abraham Lincoln, was defeated in elections for the Senate and the House before he won the most important election of all. Lincoln ultimately prevailed, he saved our Union, and he defined our obligation as Americans for all of history. Speaking at Gettysburg of the great task remaining before us, Lincoln said that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. As we meet here tonight, that remains our greatest and most important task.
So you may be thinking to yourself, it sounded an awful lot like she was trying to allude to a future presidential run, I guess. Well, she spoke on the Today Show this morning, and she didn't quite rule out the possibility of a presidential run. Watch.
Are you considering running for president yourself?
Well, what I'm going to do, Savannah, is spend the next several months completing my work in Congress, obviously completing my work representing the people of Wyoming. We have a tremendous amount of work left to do on the January 6th committee. And also, though, I'm going to be making sure that people all around this country understand the stakes of what we're facing, understand the extent to which we've now got one major political party, my party, which has really become a cult of personality.
You didn't say yes or no, and that's fine if you're thinking about it, but are you thinking about it? Are you thinking about running for president?
That's a decision that I'm going to make in the coming months, Savannah. I'm not going to make any announcements here this morning, but it is something that I'm thinking about, and I'll make a decision in the coming month.
Like, what party does she think she's going to run in successfully? Because if she thinks that, like, I get it that she is enamored with all of this love from the Democrats that she's suddenly getting, that now all of a sudden they like Dick Cheney, they like Liz Cheney. And I guess maybe she feels happy with that. But if she thinks for 1 second that those are going to be the people who would turn around and vote for her, I'm like, are you running as an independent? Do you think Republicans are going to vote for you? Even the Republicans in Wyoming were like, yeah, to pass on this.
People are sick of big government. They're sick of big government dynasties. They're sick of the Cheneys, the McCains, the Clintons. They're sick of all of this. You know, if you want to call that a cult of personality, I call it anti-big government. You got to learn to read the room a little better than what you're doing here, because I think people are sick to death of Republicans and Democrats as a party, because the status quo ain't nothing to quo about anymore, and that's what people are saying when an election like this turns out. The way that it did in Wyoming.
Yeah, well, it's also weird to hear her say that the party is a cult of personality. And of course, I'm talking about, as you can see, Representative Liz Cheney. It's just weird because it's like, no, what I see are a bunch of people who, it is a cult of personality in the sense that there are a bunch of people who can't get over this man and can't, like, everything they have to tie to Trump. It's the Trump derangement syndrome that I'm seeing as the cult of personality and the hate of personality.
They're mad because this is a Trump America First nationalist movement. It is a Christian nationalist, everything they say, and cry about it. A lot of them are white. So, be upset. But unfortunately for them, it is where we're at. And people want to say, and I'll criticize Trump. I don't care about that. But I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, Trump's, was responsible, more or less for the shutdowns. He was responsible for a lot of the inflation we're seeing now, printing trillions of dollars. He didn't finish well, and he did not, recuse any of these, biased prosecutors. He didn't exonerate any of the January 6th prisoners. Sure, we can say all that. At this level, though, we can fight about what to do with the nation if we still have the nation. And we can fight about what nationalism means as long as we're still allowed to be nationalistic in this nation and stop being censored and taken down and told that we're criminals because we just wanted to check on an election to see if it was fair and free. We didn't want a social media company telling us, just trust us, it's all good, don't question it anymore. We don't like people putting grandmas in prison. We don't like someone whose dad shot someone in the face, by the way. It's true. It's like, what do you like from big government? Getting bent over or shot in the face? Because they'll do both. So, it's a pick which side. And I hope they're hearing loud and clear. Americans are not just kind of tired of the establishment. They are not just growing weary. We are sick of. We are done. We are over. And we are through with people like Cheney. I know the Democrats love sucking on the finger and, something else, a big daddy government. Get on their knees quickly saying, Daddy, please. But I know for all of us, we have our Second Amendment strapped. We know we don't want these creepy freaks after us, these weird transgender, grooming people. And we're ready to fight back. I'm being honest. Don't come for us. Come and take it.
Yeah, so Donald Trump himself, of course, had to weigh in over on Truth Social. I could read the tweet. I feel like, do you have a good Trump? You have a good Trump impression.
When I want to.
Oh, okay. Well,
a cup of tequila in, and he becomes.
Let's read the tweet, then.
Yeah, he'll.
I can't read a Donald Trump.
It's a very long one.
Without going into the voice. I can't do it.
You hear it. You don't see congratulations. You hear congratulations.
Yeah.
You
Liz
just hear
Cheney
it.
should Liz Cheney should be ashamed of herself, the way she acted, and her spiteful, sanctimonious words and actions towards others. Now she can finally disappear into the depths of political oblivion, where I am sure she will be much happier than she is right now. Thank you, Wyoming, in all caps, with an exclamation point. No surprises there. But Adam Kinzinger, who, I didn't even try to run for, he knew how that was going to go, spoke to MSNBC and claimed Liz, again, she's talking about the Republican Party is just a cult of personality, except they're the ones who can't get Trump out of their damn minds. He's like, she'll chase Trump to the gates of hell. Watch this.
What is it for a man to gain the world but lose his soul? And I think as we've gotten into this committee, Liz and I get along really well. My respect for her was huge, by the way, prior to even all this, and it's grown immensely. She's very determined, very dogged, and she will chase Donald Trump to the gates of hell for sure.
Can we remind people that Dick Cheney is a warmonger? Right. I mean, he kept the American war machine going because it kept the money flowing. I mean, that fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Again, I go back to what I said earlier. These are big government people. Big government. These are the people, as Elijah alluded to, want to govern you harder. They want to pull your hair. When you have simps like Brian Stelter, who is a beta soy cuck, who is going to continue saying, "Oh, of course they're gonna. The IRS would love them. They're great. They're fantastic. You crazy MAGA right wingers. Y'all are the ones that are worried about it. You're scared." It's like, what is wrong with people that just want to be tied up and ball gagged by the government and treated any way that they can be? That's the Cheney family.
The images that you just gave me with Brian Stelter, I cannot forgive you for.
Throw a little Bengay in
cannot
that. Then
forgive
Brian
you for.
Stelter's sexy summer nights are
I talked about him on my show yesterday. I had some pretty choice words for old Brian.
You
and
did.
I posted the video on Twitter, and he liked it.
He liked the
Brian
post.
Stelter, I called him a beta cuck on the tweet, and he still liked it.
He
I'm
liked the
dude,
post.
They actually like it though, and that's
they love the attention.
Yeah.
Well, they're so convinced of their own BS that they don't understand how out of touch they are. Like this is, it's like it's like modern fashion, right? Anything that you see, or you see someone walking down the street and you know they think they look good, and you're like, trash bags were meant to be in a can, not
like
to
Joe
be
Biden.
worn. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my point. So you go out and you see people are so cocky, they're so narcissistic, and they walk around going, "Yeah, I'm doing what's right for the country." Man, we are a country by the people, for the people, and of the people. And the people don't want you to be doing what you're doing, and we don't care. And they're so sanctimonious. They're like, we're martyrs. It's like, no, you're roadkill. Like you're here and gone.
Dude, and again, look at her making the rounds, right? She's on the Today Show. She's on CNN. She's
I like that we have two pictures of Liz Cheney right there. That's
Which
great.
one's the real one? Which one's Photoshopped?
Well, that's
The one with
just
the glasses.
Two pictures of Liz Cheney.
I alluded to this Monday with Zuby on the show, talking about Woodward, Bernstein and Bob Woodward and Watergate. Ultimately, this was Watergate launched this idea of creating celebrity out of not only quote journalists, media figures, but because again, not only politicians like say Richard Nixon. But the underlings, right? The people behind the scenes that you never heard about, talked about, all that, it created such a scandal that to this day, all of these politicians and these journalists, I lump them all in there together, they don't give a rat's ass about serving the people. They want to be celebrities. Yeah. The culmination and the climax, to continue with this euphemism, was Barack Obama. Yeah. Barack Obama did not want, he didn't care about doing anything good for America. All he cared about was hobnobbing with George Clooney and Tom Hanks and Shakira and Beyonce. That's all he cared about, right? He was a creation of David Geffen, who put him in office, said, look, we're going to make this happen. He wanted to be a celebrity. So now, all of this, we're seeing this stuff just kind of pan out. The idea that anybody wants to go to Washington, D.C. and truly operate with a delegated authority, the people who put them there represent them. Liz Cheney doesn't represent the Republicans in Wyoming. No. She doesn't. No. And this is the result. And we're going to see this get worse and worse until, as Elijah so passionately said, we step up and we the people do something about it.
Well, and I do, to Elijah's point as well, you mentioned Brian Stelter and I joined you on that show when you were talking about Brian Stelter, and the clip that you were referencing, he actually says, the MAGA media and their...
That was the phrase I was looking
he said
for,
the MAGA media and their anti-government sentiment is just getting worse. And it's like, yeah, you better freaking believe it. Absolutely.
Well, you don't understand, this is the same thing when big tech, right? You saw Gays Against Groomers got deleted and suspended. Yes. They're going... They like being called beta cucks, and you have to understand that. They are shocked. They are so shocked that not every guy enjoys getting pegged before he leaves to work. Their minds are blown out, and other parts of their body are too. But it's insane because they stand there and they're like, they just go, I love sucking on the nipple of the government. Nobody else likes it? It's like the person in the party, the awkward moment, like, am I the only one? It's like, yes. You are the only one. You live in an echo chamber, but I genuine, like, they're against what, groomers? Like, what do you mean you don't want to sexualize children?
Right.
What are you, one of those people that are against pedophiles? You're like, why are you using a tone as if this is like a weird thing? Like, I'm like, we are all actually against pedophiles. You guys are the sick perverts. Yeah. We're against the government. It's not the MAGA movement. It's the American movement. Even the people that vote Democrat secretly hate the government. What was her name? Nicki Minaj or whatever, complaining about taxes and voting for Bernie Sanders. Yeah. I mean, they don't know what they're doing. They're blind, but like everybody hates the bloody government. It's like you're a bloody retard, honestly. This guy, Brian Stelter, he's an egg. This is Brian's. This is like nice to compare Brian to this. Brian's more round.
He is more round and
He's like there,
rotund.
like-
And by the way, only 36 years old, people.
36 years old. He's
You're
a
gonna
thumb.
have to. Yes.
He's a
I
thumb.
want to see the guy's blood work. I want to know what those organs look like. I feel bad.
Go
man.
to Chad's social media, to his Twitter, and go watch that clip because it really, oh man,
Yeah, watch
I
Chad,
lost
the
my
name.
mind.
At Watch Chad.
At Watch Chad.
I really should you and I should get off of social media. We're bad at it.
We're bad. We are bad.
But oh, so good.
We are bad, and we get in a lot of trouble. It creates so much turmoil. If we just didn't tweet and make posts for like a month, I feel like the world would be more peaceful.
I did a podcast. Can I?
Yeah,
May I?
please.
Or do you have something to say, Miss Host?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me be therapeutic for a minute, Sarah. I was on somebody's podcast yesterday, and he was like, I lost sponsors because you came on this show. And I was like, good. You don't need those people. A podcast is a place for free speech where ideas can be shared. They're eliminating your... I said, good. I'm glad you lost them. I don't see myself as being that controversial.
No.
Is common sense, honest to God, that offensive?
Yes, actually.
That doesn't make sense to me, because you're right, Elijah. I get around these people, and I'm like, you people, like, you won't even change the terminology. It's not pedophilia anymore. It's minor attracted persons. You give it an acronym, MAPS. Like, that's supposed to be academically okay, because in practice, culturally, it's supposed to be okay with these people. And we're supposed to talk about this like that's just normal behavior.
Yeah.
You know, that pederasty and NAMBLA is supposed to be something that we should accept in our society. No, you line that up and put it in front of a firing squad. That's common sense.
Yep.
But I guess that's offensive.
Yeah. Well, Liz Cheney, so long, farewell. I'm not going to tell you which one is Liz Cheney because I don't know. It's very hard to say which one of those is Liz Cheney. But don't let the
rest.
don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. All right. Bye bye now. We will be back with more. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Upside. So. Everybody needs to go to your phone and download the Upside app, because here's the deal. Upside, you actually make money. You're earning rewards. You're making money on things that you are already going to buy anyway, like gas, groceries. If you go to the occasional restaurant every once in a while, you are going to earn cash back. For instance, there's a racetrack by our house where we go and get gas. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but gas is $10 million a gallon about right now. And with Upside, you can go on the app, you can look, I'm like, oh, I'm getting cash back right now if I go to this racetrack right by my house. I have to fill up anyway. I go there and I'm earning cash back. And in comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back with Upside. You are spending money on this anyway, okay? Don't just, you're wasting it. If you don't download Upside, you can download the free Upside app. Use promo code NEWS to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. It makes no sense not to do this, you guys. $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more using promo code NEWS over at Upside, over at the App Store, wherever you can find the apps. It's the free Upside app, promo code NEWS. Congratulations, everyone. Yesterday, Joe Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law. Give
Praise
yourselves a round of applause here.
$740 billion.
$740 billion, which...
Thank God the climate is going to be saved.
No, we have to give it all to Ukraine to fix the climate. It's got to go right into
Well,
Kiev.
which, they are calling it the Inflation Reduction Act. It is important to point out it does nothing to actually reduce inflation. And this is according to the CBO, which is like...
The government's lying? I might as well quit. I've been doing this show thinking that everything we've been told is the truth the last couple
you're a member
years.
of the MAGA media.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're going to be shocked.
eggs.
You're going to be shocked when I tell you that the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida, that's actually not what that's about either.
Would I get suspended if I said, watch out, Brian, and I cracked an egg and opened it into a fry pan? Would that be considered
This
harassment
is your
and
brain on
violence?
Stelter.
Yeah. No, but that's just Brian's head.
Yeah, I know.
That's how I treated his brother.
This is it's really scary, you guys, because you even have CNN or MSNBC that we played the other day actually asking Karine Jean-Pierre, who again is the greatest example of affirmative action failures probably in the history of the world.
Just like her because she's a lesbian.
And it's they're even asking these questions, which is but what does it do to reduce inflation? Maybe you guys should have named it something else. When you have the leftist media actually asking these questions, you know that it's gotten pretty bad. But don't worry, because Joe Biden continues to tell us that it will actually it's not going to do jack crap for inflation, but it is going to help him get all of his climate goals accomplished. So
that's true. You know, the one thing about the climate is I think we learned very well from the natives. The rain dances, you know, which really did a lot to help the crops. We found that human interaction is one of the biggest contributing factors to climate. All those little dancings around the fire, a very advanced civilization did wonders for them. When they focused on that, look at how well. I mean, I think by the time we got here, they hadn't invented the wheel. So that's the kind of idea, that's the approach we should take. Let's try to use our science dance to bring rain down and to block the sun. It is the most stupid thing, and on a serious note, people do not understand, and I will reiterate this a million times, one of the most nefarious things about the climate problem is that the government says that they can fix the climate so that you still think you need them. And that's what the government does. They create fake problems with solutions that can never be had so that you always have a need for them. As long as you're fighting against racism, with no definition of what that means, Nazis, when there's no real party of it that exists, and the climate, like they're defending us against stuff that doesn't even have an existence. So then it's like, well, but I need the government. I got to keep paying them the taxes because who else is going to have $10 trillion? That's why they put a price tag. It's going to cost $10 trillion because we need all the world's governments. We need NATO. We need Ukraine, like Zelensky. I need a little bit of his, seminal fluid just to like protect myself from the sun's rays. Like they'll literally sell you anything that you need or you don't need, so that you just say, well, if the government wasn't here, we'd all be dead. In reality, the government's the one killing us through our food, they're the one killing us through our wars, killing the sons and daughters trying to get out of Afghanistan, through these, I can't say that, through the things that a lot of people are getting involved in, and that includes gay orgies, which are causing people's problems. But I meant like they're the ones killing us, but they act like they're the defenders. It's the most toxic ex-relationship I think I've ever been involved in, except this one, I'm the one that still keeps getting effed.
Well, you shouldn't have anything to worry about, Elijah, because Bill Gates has actually, in a Bloomberg interview, revealed that he actually was involved in pushing this climate bill, which of course is named the Inflation Reduction Act. And he said that, Bloomberg said that when Manchin slammed the brakes on legislation to combat global warming, that is when billionaire philanthropist and clean energy investor Bill Gates got on the phone with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and that he has quietly lobbied Manchin and other senators in anticipation of a rare moment in which heavy federal spending might be secured for clean energy transition. It's almost like this was totally planned and they were waiting for the right moment to push through their agenda. But that's something a conspiracy theorist would say.
Has Taylor Swift weighed in on any of this? I mean, she's used her private jet 170 times this year, so she's got the biggest carbon footprint. I mean, are we talking to Leo DiCaprio, who actually used his money to create even more hoaxes in regards to this whole thing? Here's the deal. Let's throw some virgins into the volcano and call it good. That's where I'm at this point. And here's the thing, right? If you did that, if the government actually pushed for that, the Brian Stelters of the world would be defending that. Yes, of course we want to throw virgins into the volcano. You can't change the atmosphere by spending money. But the whole deal has me very concerned. We could joke about it, but it does, look, they're going to take my tax dollars to increase my tax dollars and hire 87,000 armed new IRS agents to come look at my taxes to make sure that they can tax me even more.
Fact checked. It's 86,999 armed. There's one.
Is that the deal?
There's a girl at the front desk. She's not armed. She's a pepper spray.
She's not armed. But she can be if she so chooses.
Well, she's an amputee, so
You guys keep throwing around the word she, and I don't know that you know what the gender is.
I know exactly what it is.
So I'm just saying.
He's sitting down.
You mentioned the, what is it, $740 billion it's like, guys, do you know what inflation means and why it happens? Why would you think that spending that much money is going to get us out of it?
I want to take you back to, let's circle back to Jen Psaki, who called it transitory temporary inflation. Yeah. Remember that whole thing? They kept renaming what the inflation was. Well, now they've got to spend 3/4 of a, whatever. Is that
what
even
comes
right?
After $1 billion?
Of a trillion? 750 billion. I keep saying, one, you don't know what $1 billion is. You sure as hell don't know what $1 trillion is. But we throw these big numbers around like, it's okay, it's not real money. I mean, y'all are trying to figure out how to make the $7.56 that you got in your bank account now last till payday on Friday. So y'all don't understand that you don't think that it's going to touch you. But when they start talking about in this thing that by 2030 to 2035, everybody in America is going to be driving an electric car, which is not feasible. That's not realistic. You want to talk about the Green New Deal, which came with a $91 trillion price tag. That's not even a real number. These people are really going to go through with these asinine and harebrained ideas because, again, as Daddy Beck says, you know, this great reset and the modern monetary theory and the ESG stuff, all of the stuff that they're doing, and you don't believe it's happening. And folks, even SEL, social emotional learning, that's being pushed in our schools right now, that is just the education people that's their own type of ESG scores. How's your SEL score as a student? So all this stuff's being enacted, it's being transacted. They're going to take everything away from you, and you start to see this thing play out. And ultimately, the prophetic words of Klaus Schwab of "you're going to own nothing and be happy" are starting to be fulfilled. That's scary stuff.
Yeah.
People already don't own steak. I mean, like they said right 3 years ago, oh, we want to make beef a luxury, not a commodity. How many people watching this right now have you genuinely cut out not only just good steak, but it's like not a choice of whether you even want to eat steak. It's just not on the menu. And that's crazy. An American and steak, that's like, seriously, it's Texan. That's in our blood. We are born with, they give us a ribeye when we get out of the room.
And you're going to say that cockroach milk is the healthiest kind?
Cricket butter.
You're going to have Nicole Kidman sitting there eating, 5-course larva meals. And then Bill Gates himself has a synthetic beef that he's pushing. He owns all of the...
Look how great he looks.
That's how he lactates.
Yeah,
though.
look how great he
I
looks.
want to know how he produces so much milk in his breast. I'm like, hey, can you nurse my future kids, man?
So, I know you got to go to the thing. I'm just saying, it's here. I mean, it's what's happening. It's what's happening. It's going on. And I work real hard to make money. To me, money is freedom. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm a capitalist. I believe in a free market economy. That's why I believe in small government. And maybe I'd rather throw a virgin in the volcano than give up my money that I've worked hard for. I mean, there's somebody out there who's going to sacrifice themselves for this big government. They love it so much.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we don't...
And God knows there's a lot of virgins on the left.
You're not wrong.
Nobody's hitting that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have time to get to it, but there are, let me just tell you, there are a lot of companies who are going to take the hit in their taxes. If you don't think that that's going to be passed down to you as an individual, as the consumer, as the client, you are dead wrong. We got to take a break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Moms for Liberty. Chad was just talking about SEL in schools, social emotional learning. It's not just that. It's CRT. It's all sorts of stuff. Where does it end? It is where Moms for Liberty has taken on, in 18 months, they've grown to over 200 chapters in 37 states. They're basically dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of the government. So here's the deal, guys. You're not supposed to co-parent with the government because it's like your kids are actually your kids. But the problem is that all of these schools don't understand that, and they want to sexually indoctrinate your children. They want to teach white children that they are racist and that they need to pay some sort of penance to black children. They're teaching them all sorts of crazy things, and they are trying to override what the values are that you are teaching their children. Moms for Liberty is putting a stop to it. They were created by two moms. They were former school board members who saw behind the education curtain, probably because during COVID we all did, and they put it out on the table for all of us to see. You have got to go to momsforliberty.org/Sarah today, okay? If you are a parent, it doesn't matter. You can be a grandparent, a dad, a mom, whoever you are. It is free to join as an associate member, but we all need to band together to make sure that our children are protected. This is very important. You got to go to momsforliberty.org/Sarah. The U.S. House of Representatives Chief Administrative Officer has issued I would say, very, very surprising, guys, I don't think you guys have seen this coming, a very surprising cyber advisory on TikTok, labeling it, quote, high risk, end quote, with personal info accessed from inside China. And it says that TikTok may be able to obtain Wi-Fi network name, device serial number, device phone number, GPS status info, and accounts on the device. The cyber advisory concludes, we do not recommend the download or use of this application due to the security and privacy concerns. As I'd just like to point out as a reminder, Joe Biden dropped Trump's TikTok ban in June of 2021. I, for one, am shocked. It was not like anyone could have seen this coming.
It's one of the freest countries, Nancy Pelosi said, right? It's a free nation.
Exactly what she said.
Yeah, I was like,
It's one of the freest countries in the world.
yeah, I'm still wanting to understand where she gets the vodka that allows you to function enough to make several $100 million on a several $100,000 income, but at the same time, be able to make excuses. Like, I'm a married man. I need that level of BS. Like, that's so good. I mean, it's like you make money and be drunk at the same time. That's a party. You get to do whatever you want, live in reality, be intoxicated, and be rich, and you get away with it.
I just want to know who was in Paul Pelosi's car.
Oh, well, I mean, they, roadhead, but
Well,
that's
you
the
notice,
thing.
I mean, right around the advent of monkeypox. Not saying, but saying.
Maybe he was just out getting her
Roadhead.
getting her another $37 bottle of or canister of ice cream, and he wanted his dessert as well.
I'm gonna
You know-
fly to Taiwan.
It really, if you,
That's
if
not a
there's
real marriage. Like,
no,
they're not
if there's
into each
anyone
other.
that you could give a pass to for being drunk all the time, it's Paul Pelosi.
I give
Because
Paul
if you had to
Pelosi
be
a
married
pass.
to Nancy Pelosi,
Oh, yeah.
you would want to be drunk all the time too.
She
Probably
flew
now.
to-
Don't drive,
Yeah,
but
she flew to Asia on Smirnoff 1. She's saturated.
I feel like you probably smell it when you walk into the room with her.
I'm gonna get some ice cream. It's right by my liver. She keeps it in the freezer.
So I want to get to yesterday. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is making the moves, the total GOAT right now. He proposed 3 initiatives to get more teachers in schools by offering incentives for veterans and first responders who have a bachelor's degree to potentially become educators. And he said the program will prevent Florida from becoming a woke dumpster fire. Watch.
The state of Florida is the place where woke goes to die. We are not going to let this state. We're not going to let this state descend into some type of woke dumpster fire. We're going to be following common sense. We're going to be following, facts, and that's just really, really important. So, anyways, thank you guys for being here. God bless you all.
They also have a proposed apprenticeship program that would allow residents with an associate's degree to teach under the leadership of an experienced teacher for 2 years and then move on to get their bachelor's degree. And they would also be eligible for a $4,000 bonus. God, you gotta love all of the moves that he's making. But every time I see him do it, I'm like, damn you, Ron DeSantis. I'm jealous because we've got Governor Abbott over there, just softy,
Yeah.
waiting, going.
If only we had another
wait and
option
see.
earlier. If only there was somebody else that was running that wasn't.
only.
Oh no, I'm too mean to people online. That's the whole thing.
Did you do mean tweets
No.
too?
Here's the thing. In my defense, I've got somebody that's blowing me up right now on social media because you said mean things to me. I responded to a comment. I didn't say anything mean. But if they're like, what do you want? Everybody wants somebody to be spineless. Stop being nice. Stop being nice. And you know what? And stop worrying about the people who aren't nice, because we're the ones who are actually out there putting it on the front lines and getting something done. I mean, I made the list. You saw the anti-hate or the hate list. You sent me the deal.
I was jealous.
I was really jealous.
I mean, I made
You
the
were
top
in the
10
document,
list.
I know, but I wanted
Speaking
to be in
out
the top
against
10.
pedophiles and groomers, my contribution on Twitter put me, in the top 10 list of this deal. And I'm like, I'm done being nice. Forget being nice. You meet me in person, I'll buy you a drink, we'll have a steak, we'll get hammered together, we'll trade stories. Maybe we'll make out, but we'll be nice.
Don't get monkeypox though.
It's that's
We'll
what
be
I'm
nice
saying.
in that, but no, when I'm out there and I'm dealing with this crap we're talking about, I'm done being nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no room for it. I think the discourse in America, that's why when Trump was saying to tone it down, I started saying tone it up, stay strapped.
Yeah.
Just the idea is no, it's not about pushing division. And I was listening to these social media experts talking about how social media divided us on Lex Friedman podcast. And the guy was saying, what we really need to do is find an equal ground where we de-incentivize and we need to make it harder to be mean. And I go, the problem with that is in our society is that there's a difference between being an a-hole and being mean for a reason that is unnecessary.
Right.
And then there's a necessary. It's just like there's a difference between killing in a war that's just and then murder, right? We have war crimes for a reason, because not all killings in a war are justified.
Right.
And so, sometimes it's like you got to realize when we're on the front lines and what we're doing and what we're seeing, They're trying to have sex with our kids and make us sanction it. These are not people to make peace with. And they go, I heard him say, he goes, well, right-wing pundits, they're just really incentivized to pick apart the other side. I go, no, I literally said, I want to be at peace. And then they came for our incomes. They came for our votes. They came for our bodies. They came for our businesses. I asked you to be left the hell alone. I asked you to just stop bothering me. And they can't. And they're going further. And they're accelerating. And so I am too. For every IRS agent they hire, about probably 500 more guns are purchased in this country. And it's like, well, you can arm the IRS, we can arm ourselves. Oh, that sounds like violent rhetoric. You know what sounds like violent rhetoric? More armed people in the federal government. Do you know who kills people? The federal government. We have, 300 times more, I think, arms than they do, or like 250 times more arms. And we've killed, in self-defense, a few 100,000 in the last decade. They've killed like 20 million.
Ask Randy Weaver's dog.
They're the murderers. They're the killers.
Oh, you can't.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, that's why the seriousness and extremeness of not being nice. We don't be nice to murderers. We're not nice to pedophiles. And we sure as hell aren't nice to people who are robbing us of our money to provide for our families. And there are so many people watching right now who were doing okay or were barely making it 2 years ago. And now they are struggling. And if they have a Blaze membership, they're probably they're thank you, because they're making a sacrifice to be here. Yeah. And I know that, and I respect that.
And to both of our points, Ron DeSantis is not successful right now in Florida by being nice.
Right.
It's not. I mean, listen, if the Biden administration was a scented candle, it would be a dumpster fire. Right? That's what we're dealing with right now. So he's not getting the results by being nice.
Yeah. All right, we could talk about that all day, but we got to take a quick break. We do want to thank our sponsor this segment, Nugenix. So, look, men, you guys, as you age, I know no one likes to talk about aging. It's not fun, but your body actually naturally loses free testosterone, which is what makes you a man. But it can happen to anyone if you're a man, and it makes it harder to stay in shape and to stay awake. You're going to be tired all the time. You got to counter the negative physical effects of aging with Nugenix Total T testosterone booster with Testofen. It will help you turn back the clock, re-energize your workouts. It'll get you better results at the gym. You're going to look and feel like the man you really want to be. And it has been validated in 5 clinical studies shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. It's nothing to be concerned about. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, I should say. Don't be embarrassed about it, but take care of it, okay? You can do that with Nugenix. Get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text MATTERS to 231-231. That is the word MATTERS. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo. This is their most powerful fat incinerator ever. It's going to help get you back into shape absolutely free. Don't miss out. Text the word MATTERS to 231-231. Well, this is a conversation I need to have with these gentlemen right here. The CDC has updated its guidance related to animals and the monkeypox virus after a gay couple in France is suspected of transmitting the virus to their dog. So it was the Italian Greyhound.
It was a Greyhound. It's a fast dog. You'd think he could. They said it was the linens.
What's he doing on the linens?
What were they doing with the dog? I don't believe the linen theory at all.
Yeah, it's on the anus. So, here's the key thing. If this was a skin infection, and maybe you just went Superman, Commando, you were butler, balls hang out, whatever these gay guys do, and your dog crawled onto you. I want to come back here and do 3 questions. Number one. Number one. This is an STD. Did you know you had the STD? Let's start there. Number 2, how close was your dog to your balls? Because that's what I want to know. And also, most dogs, when they sleep, their tail's between their legs a little bit. How did the tail get up?
That's what I'm saying.
And then make the contact with your genitals. All you say genitals. I got to learn this. This is my first time on this overtime, so I don't know how. I'm not going to be crass. I'll be nice to everyone. I'll be not that crass. But I want to know the contact between the shaft and the anus of the Greyhound.
This is not overtime, Elijah. It's just the end of the show.
Glenn Beck needs to do a chalkboard.
Oops.
All right. I've been told by Edit to give you the dunce cap.
There you
You've
go.
been given the dunce cap. Thank you guys for being here.